seconds or so with Neil Knight's video. Just want to remind everyone as well that the Q&A link and chat buttons are still available. So if you do have any questions, as I said, for from the first half of the webinar, as well as us going into the second half of the webinar, please include them and we will do our utmost to answer those for you today. If we cannot, then please could you address us, send over your email address details, and we will get back to you as soon as possible and speak with our other experts as well. But without further ado, we will move on to our section with Neil Knight. He is essentially going through his experience with it as a personal trainer and going through it in terms of the fitness aspect of it. There are certain parts of it which I did find quite interesting, and won't make any spoilers, but we'll go from there. But yeah, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Neil Knight.
Watching this, my name is Neil Knight. I'm a personal trainer over in Sutton in Surrey. Have been a personal trainer for the last 22 years, and the reason for the video is to give you a bit of an update as to my experience with the Uniglo by TensCare. I use this device, I'll give you some background onto it in a moment, but I was given it to do a bit of a sample trial a few weeks back, and I wanted to share my experiences with you, let you know how I got on, how I found it, and also how I used it, because I used it slightly differently than just what it says in the manual, also with one of my clients. So as I said, I was handed a device, and unfortunately I intended to use it pretty much mainly for some ab work, just so I'd stop doing some ab work. I've actually been trying to get a bit bigger over the last few months, so trying in theory bulk a little bit more and put a bit more muscle on. So with that comes a little bit more body fat, as you'd expect. So I was going to try and use it to create some stimulus around the abdominal area and not concentrate on doing ab work myself, and see how that got on. I also was going to use it, and have used it, for under the eyes. So I suffer extremely badly with hay fever, and I get very puffy around my eyes here. So I was quite interested in using it to see if I could get anything out of that. So they're the kind of reasons that I was going to choose to use it. I ended up using it on a client as well, so I'll explain that in a moment. But a little bit about sort of what I got out of it. So as I started using the equipment, I got actually unwell. So I actually picked up COVID and became a little bit unwell. I didn't get it that badly, just felt under the weather. So it wasn't great. It wasn't a great start. I couldn't really train, but I did still use it to try and see if I could get any benefit, because I couldn't go to the gym. So I obviously had to self-isolate. Off the back of that, I ended up actually getting quite a bad sinus infection from it as well. So it was a completely separate thing off the back of that. So I had swelling around the face. I couldn't train again, and this lasted for another 7 days. So at this time, no training, and unfortunately they put me on some seriously strong antibiotics, which played havoc with my gut flora. So I couldn't keep any food in. So in theory, I was just losing weight, couldn't get any benefits from it at all. Even though I still tried to up it and use the equipment just for abdominals, pecs, and arms, because I could just lay there and do a little bit of it. I didn't do the full programs, so I did the abdominal program. I did about half each time, so same with the pecs, same with the arms. So I was getting probably about half the amount out of it, sort of like 20 minutes, 15 minutes, stuff like that. And actually I was doing that every other day. So what I found was, from a situation where I couldn't really get any food in, and I was clearly going to lose some weight because I wouldn't have enough glycogen stores, obviously from the fact that I was getting lack of food, to really fulfill any muscle. I actually found that it created a very good stimulus, and that I could actually feel like I was getting a bit of a workout. Again, I was unwell, so I can understand that it was probably working me a little bit harder than if I'd been fully sort of fit and functional. But no doubt I could feel the benefit from it, and I think from my personal point of view that for using it meant that I didn't suffer the losses that I would have done normally. So 17 days, 20 days out of training, 7 to 10 of those days not eating at all really, or struggling to eat or keeping food in, everyone's going to lose a significant amount of weight. So I feel that the fact that I could try and stimulate a bit of muscle tissue did really help. So as well as that, as I said, afterwards I started using it for the hay fever basically. So I used the face pads and stuck them exactly as it says to in the instruction manual. And what I found was that it's quite a unique sensation there, really, the tingling under the skin. It's a little bit different than what you feel when you're doing the muscle pads and stuff. So, but it did really make a difference. So I normally wake up in the morning with the puffy anyway from it, and then when the pollen's high, it's significantly worse. So what I found is that using it in the evening, probably about the last thing before I went to bed, my missus found it quite funny sitting next to me. But yeah, using that in the evening did make a bit of a difference, and I woke up in the morning with a significantly less swelling in my eyes. So that's something that I'll continue to use. I'm definitely going to continue to use that. Found that really interesting. I am going to share a couple of pictures at the end. What you'll probably see is not massive difference in me at all. But what I'll say is that's probably the best thing I could have experienced, because not losing a significant amount of sort of muscle, it's managing to keep some stimulus going through, and sort of keep blood flow healthy there to those muscles I was using through using the Uniglo, then it did make a bit of difference. So I can honestly say, without using it, I would expect it to lose more. So you'll see the pictures at the end. And I think you'll pretty much see that I think the abs are actually a little bit better, but then again, losing a bit of weight. So I'm very happy with the fact that everything else seemed to stay relatively good. And finally, I used it for my client. Now, this was an interesting one because he suffered a shoulder injury a while back, and we've been struggling to get him to be able to do full range of movement, or enough of a range of movement to really push the blood, like healthy blood and lots of blood flow into the muscle to help the repair. So I know a lot of people obviously get recommended when you get an injury, it's all about rest. This is where the arguments happen between sort of like fitness and professionals and maybe doctors, GPs and stuff like that. This is where the difference happens, is that most physios, trainers and coaches will promote activity depending on what the grade of the tear would be or what the injury is, because we want to stimulate blood flow, we want to get active tissue in there to get everything moving and repairing. A rest would happen, but it depends on what it is. If it's a ligament tendon, the blood supply is so poor that naturally to allow it to just rest would take a long time. So we want to get blood there to help active recovery really for those muscles or ligament tendons where they've been damaged. So what I found, and it was just on the off chance because I've been given it and it timed pretty well, is that I managed to give it to my client, told him exactly what to do, and we did it. We didn't follow the instruction manual, obviously. There's nothing in there for a shoulder position, but we did attach the pads round to give a nice sort of line of movement for the electrodes there, and then we just allowed that to stimulate shoulder. So we moved it around a couple of times to feel most comfortable, and what we did is got him to do it three times a week basically. So he was doing it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and he was doing the settings for pecs. So we allowed that to be there, and over the sort of 2.5 weeks that he used it, and he did it regularly, I think he did it the odd weekend as well, so he was trying to do it every other day. And what we found is that it was just stimulating enough blood, so it was easing the shoulder off. And I think about a week or so in, the range of movement had increased a little bit. And he was very surprised that over 2.5 weeks, we could get a full lateral raise in. So what we ended up with was the fact that we used the equipment, again, as I said, to stimulate blood flow, to help aid the recovery. And then we started then using very light weights. So we've got a load now and he's managing it. And then we can control that movement so that we can now actively recover it through resistance training. So again, it wasn't what I intended to use it for. It did end up as a way we did use it. And I was quite impressed because I wasn't I didn't know what to expect really, and it did work pretty well. So that's sort of the experiences from me. Yes, I am going to keep using it. I am actually going to keep using it 100% for the under my eyes, because I do think it makes a massive difference. Even if I haven't slept great, it's still better than it was. So for me, that's magical. I'm definitely going to keep using that. And I'm still going to use it for active recovery for me, actually. So the best thing for me, I like to train really hard. I like to train with weights. So I'm find this is going to be absolutely perfect for active recovery, for stimulus, to make sure that I keep blood flow to the muscles after. So it's probably going to be a case of I'll train legs one day, and then the next evening I would then use the equipment to stimulate blood flow to the legs. So it's active recovery. And then I would use, I'll go to the gym again on, the next day, and I would do a chest session, again using the equipment to stimulate blood flow to that area. So I know I've talked on for about 10 minutes just at you, but that was my experience of using it. I've got a couple of pictures that I'll put on. Again, they're not going to show the greatest, but what I could do is a follow-up actually, and still keep using it. Now I'm back in the gym properly after using the active recovery aspect of it, and see where we go from there. But thank you for listening to me. There's a couple of pictures coming up, as I said. I know this is pre-recorded. Again, my schedule's insane at the moment. So if anyone has any questions based on this, I'll give my email address and telephone number. And if anyone wants to sort of get some feedback from me then, or ask any questions, they can feel free to. So yeah, hopefully that gives you some information about my experience. I look forward to hearing from anyone who wants to get some feedback, and yeah, enjoy the rest of the presentation.
Thank you very much for that, Neil. It's greatly appreciated. And as you can see, there is some before and after photos, which are now present. The first one are of the placement of the pads where he had when he used the AB program. And I believe there is a next slide as well of the before and after. So despite he was, not in the gym for, what was it, 15 to 20 days because he contracted COVID-19, we believe, and I think he also does too with Neil when he explained it yesterday, that there has been some effects, and I believe, and we believe that there are changes, especially in the after side of it. And we were also very surprised in the fact how it helped with his sinus infections as well. This is something, me personally, I do suffer from sinuses, and I genuinely feel like I'm going to give it a go. One story I will share with you that Neil had with us yesterday was he actually fell asleep whilst he was using the program for his abs as well. So maybe that's an example when it comes to the gentle stimulation, how gentle it is. They had himself an afternoon nap as well. But yeah, so thank you very much, Neil. We have also asked him, and he's definitely going to keep in touch with us through his journey of using the Uniglo on not just his abs, also with his legs, as he mentioned as well. And I believe he'll be very happy for us to share those with our customers when we do hear from him in the coming weeks and months. So moving on now to the presentation by TensCare. We will start off with Mackenzie, who will be going through the product features of the Uniglo, and then followed on from that, as I've said before, Karina will be taking on with the market trends and opportunities around the globe and in the regions. So Mackenzie, welcome, and take it away.
Thanks, Connor. Hello, everyone, and good afternoon or good morning to you, depending on where you're watching from in the world. Just a quick introduction for those of you that may not know me. I am Mackenzie, and I'm the North American Export Account Manager at TensCare. What I'll be talking about is some of the product features and the benefits, a little bit on competitor analysis, and then I'll just finish with highlighting some of the clinical evidence behind our claims. I'm very excited to be here and present to you the Uniglo. Personally, I think that this product's being brought to market at a time where people really are adopting these new technologies. Therefore, I think it can be very successful. So the Uniglo is a new beauty therapy device. It's a powered muscle stimulator used for body toning and shaping, as well as the reduction of wrinkles. You can see here in this picture of the Uniglo, it's a lightweight handheld device with a detachable belt clip, meaning it's wearable and can be used hands-free. It's a newly designed shape that is sleek and more ergonomic. The device itself comes with 3 different sets of electrodes. So it comes with our smallest circular 10 by 25 mil pads. Then it also comes with our 30 by 50 facial electrodes, and then our standard 50 by 50 electrode pads. It's one of the only beauty devices on the market currently that offers both EMS and microcurrent technology. So the next slide shows some of the programs for the Uniglo, which has 8 tailored programs. 2 are targeted at tightening and stimulating the facial area. This is to redeem that sort of natural glow. And then there's 6 that are featuring toning for other areas of the body, including the abs, the hips, the thigh, bust, arm, and the calf. So I know today we have with us some existing customers and partners of TensCare, and I'm sure you'll all agree and be aware of the reputation that TensCare holds in the TENS and EMS technologies. It's because of this, our infrastructure and external capabilities create a perfect opportunity for us to develop microcurrent in our new devices. I think it's worth mentioning as well, for those of you that might be here for the first time, or this might be your first experience with TensCare, that we have over 28 years experience in manufacturing these types of technologies. These programs have been designed and engineered based on experience and clinical evidence to ensure maximum effectiveness and also high customer satisfaction. The next slide is going to be a short unboxing video. So this will allow you to see what's inside the kit of the Uniglo. So I hope you all enjoyed that. This slide, what I'll talk to you now about is about the features of the product and some of the benefits. I think everyone would agree with any product, it's very important to understand the product features, but more importantly, it's how these benefits will add value to the customer. So the Uniglo offers a number of benefits to the customer. Firstly, there's more choice. So the device offers dual technologies of EMS and microcurrent. There's more freedom. The Uniglo can be used hands-free with the wearable belt clip. There's a lot of feedback on handheld devices of actually that being a major limitation of the device. There's more life. The Uniglo boasts a battery runtime of around 15 hours. That's nearly double that of competitors such as Myolift. It can be easily charged with a standard micro USB cable. There's more comfort. The Uniglo comes with 3 different sized electrodes, as I mentioned earlier. And this can accommodate all different body areas. The EMS programs can be increased in gentle, small steps of 0.5 milliamps. And with the microcurrent programs, there's 5 carefully tailored levels that the user can choose from. There's more value. In the UK, women are said to spend around £400 a year on just skincare products. The Uniglo not only offers a more affordable solution to skincare routines or skincare, but it can also be used for body toning and shaping. And lastly, this device is chemical and drug-free. It's free from known harmful chemicals such as parabens or even alcohol that some skincare products do contain. So this slide here talks a little bit about the contents of the kit. I won't go over this too much. We've just seen the unboxing video, so you just watch that. But essentially, it contains the device itself, some lead wires, the 3 different types of electrodes for all different body areas, a charging adapter, the belt clip, a storage pouch, and of course an instruction manual on how to use the device itself. Looking at some direct competitors, we've got here 2 competitors of the Uniglo from 2 different beauty brands. And I'll just go through some of the limitations of those devices when they're compared to the Uniglo. So firstly, with the MyoLift, there's limited use. So this device can only be used in conjunction with an app. But however, a lot of customers reported that there was frequent server crashes. It always needed Bluetooth connection, and there was an inability to use if your phone or tablet was under 30%. So this severely hindered the use of the product. There's also poor reviews, achieving an average of 1.5 stars on Amazon UK. TensCare has a history of producing beauty devices with very strong customer satisfaction. Our Perfect Beauty received 5 stars on our e-commerce platforms. Limited choice only offers microcurrent, and there is no option for EMS programs. And it's also handheld. For longer treatment times, a lot of users complained about holding the device to their face for long periods of times, and they found it uncomfortable. Then the next one we have is the Lifetron. The Lifetron device has several downfalls, which include the frequent repurchase of expensive serum. This is an additional cost to the buyer, and the lifespan of this serum is actually very short because it's sold in very small tubes. It's also quite unenvironmentally friendly to a green conscious consumer. There's a lesser warranty. The Uniglo has 2 years and the Lifetron only has 1. It's more expensive, significantly more expensive, retailing for over $150 more, while still not offering the dual technologies of microcurrent and EMS. It's also 5 times heavier and a much less ergonomic design and shape. So looking now at a wider competitor analysis and products outside of the microcurrent realm, more traditional products, perhaps like anti-aging creams, which are really crucial to compare when comparing to such devices. These creams can cause a dependency, which can lead to rashes. They can also, in the case of overuse, result in acne breakouts, and some anti-aging creams contain known harmful chemicals. Michelle Lee, who is the editor-in-chief of Allure, which is a renowned US beauty magazine, she recently spoke about how we should change the way we think about aging. And I think there is a real changing attitude, especially amongst the millennial generation, who are now, some of them in their later 20s or 30s, and they may begin to see some signs of aging, and they are adopting new technologies against this, or preventative measures against this. And similarly, this is also an attitude changing in older generations who are more likely to adopt these new technologies. And microcurrent at the moment is being dubbed as the non-invasive facelift. And lastly, I think it's really important, and it's something that was mentioned earlier by one of our speakers, that the Uniglo is safe for all skin tones and types. It's a very inclusive device, so it can be used by absolutely anyone. The next slide is just this slide is a table with the comparison of 2 other competitors. Now, I won't go through this in too much detail. I appreciate this is quite a lot of information on one page. However, I think one of the key takeaways from this would be the cost. As an all-round device, I think the Uniglo here shows that it's the most value for money, and it's the best value for the consumer to purchase. So that would be the key takeaway. Don't worry, these slides will be shared, and you will be able to go through a more detailed outlook of this if you wish to compare things such as the frequency, pulse width, max amplitude, and etc. And just lastly, I think we'll finish on highlighting some of the clinical evidence that supports our claims. This is by no means limited to the 2 that I'm about to talk about. There are a lot more than this, but these are 2 that we've selected. The first here is a study on EMS in overweight people. This showed that EMS combined with resistance training, which is something that Neil talked about, recorded a decrease in weight and therefore could have positive effects on certain health aspects. The Uniglo alongside regular exercise, can provide significant benefits to the user, such as weight loss that contributes positively to a person's mental health as well. The next clinical evidence that we looked at was microcurrent therapy on the face. And this was to test the improvement of wrinkle appearance, which produced a positive result for improving aging skin. The forehead area saw the greatest improvement, and overall 70% of patients were satisfied with their treatment results. We know from other studies and from other speakers too, that microcurrent can boost the production of ATP, which protects us from the effects of anti-aging, as well as stimulating amino acids. I don't think it's any surprise to anyone that there's a lot of other beauty brands that are entering the microcurrent market. However, we feel that we're at the very forefront of that, and we're an early adopter of this technology. And I would also say that it's important to remember we have an expertise, we have an experience, and we have a previous of dealing with technologies such as EMS, TENS, and microcurrent. And therefore, this is what we believe is one of our main separation points from other brands and gives us the cutting edge. So thank you for listening. I'll pass you on now to Karina. She'll take you through some of the market trends. So take it away, Karina.
Thank you, Maka. Yeah, we're just going to go through a bit of the global market trends that exist at the moment and sharing two case of studies of our distributors, one from China and another one from Finland. Just something to mention as well, Uniglo is not being sold as a medical device, actually. Even we have experience of producing and manufacturing medical devices, this particular device is not following, obviously, the European regulations. And obviously, if you want to know and check if in your country is considered a medical device, just please be in contact with your account manager and we can just solve that doubt. Just going on the United Kingdom, an average woman spends rather like 570 pounds on skincare products each year, which is impressive. And they discovered that 78% of respondents believe it's important to follow a daily regimen and frequently get through skincare products annually. According to a study, the biggest skincare concern amongst women is aging and wrinkles. That's not a surprise. We have here as well from previous speakers. Following by dryness as well is at 38%, and 32% is as well concerned about the dark circles and spots. In the United States, according to a study, the average woman spends around like $313 US per month on her appearance. And if we add that on the year, it's roughly like 3,600. And if we add that on a lifetime that we spend, it's like nearly $250,000. And this actually will be an equivalent of 4 years of a college tuition. Another thing is the market predictions. The skin market, it's predicted to be on $177 million in 2024, and that represents a 4% increase every year. As we have here as well from Neil, obviously the trend of getting healthy and fit is growing. And even we see that it's like a small but consistent growing every year of having more health, fitness, and clubs. This is as well a representation for you, distributors, to have another market and audience to approach and as well to reach the Uniglo and our aesthetic products. Just going on the beauty market, this is a case of study of our distributor in China, and the question was why they're selling this product there. And actually, they start trading in China, and after doing like a market report, they realized that development history of mom and baby products were the fastest growing market. And what they did is actually start focusing on the new moms between 25 and 34 years old because they wanted to recover the body in the natural way. And in the past 3 years in China, the Perfect Beauty has a total of 57,000 pieces sold, which is impressive. And in China, there is a platform called Tmall Global. And something that they do is called the Double 11. The Double 11 is on the 11th of November. And in that day, it's pretty much similar like Amazon Prime or Black Friday, And in that day, only in one day, they sold 2,500 pieces. Here you can see the ways that they promoted the perfect beauty, focusing primarily on the belly of the new moms and also on other parts of the body. We're not going to go on deep on how they promote it, but it's extraordinary how we can see out of the box and not focusing only on perhaps people who want to maintain their body fit, but as well in new moms that they want to be fit again or just get back to their body. This is the way that they were advertising. They partner actually with different celebrities, models, and influencers to promote our product. And having a big investment of this product obviously was a great success in the return of their investment. Following obviously the success that we have in China, many of our Chinese customers in Malaysia and Singapore were aware about our perfect beauty. And there are platforms such as Little Red Book and Taobao and others that obviously as well they were very aware of our product. And something that we have done is that we listed our devices, especially the perfect beauty, in platforms such as Lazada. And we align as well the selling point that in China was done, like the postpartum recovery and emphasis on the training of the abdominal part. And this was as well a success. And something that we realized is that the perfect beauty this year only actually represents for us 30% of the total sales in Southeast Asia in the online market. And something important to mention as well is that the ways for them to find our product or browse online is Tensker Perfect Beauty and Tensker. That says a lot as well, that not only the product is well known, but as well the brand as well in that region. And obviously the Perfect Beauty is one of the products that give us the highest return of investment in the market at the moment. I'm just gonna show quickly what is actually as well in other regions, such as Latin America and North America. The beauty market, as we said, is the largest size market Tensker operates in, and with the global aesthetic market size valued at 86.2 billion in 2020, the North American market size exceeds now 8 billion in 2020, and is predicted to expand at over 8.8% of the compound average growth rate from 2021 to 2027. Another thing to consider is like how we can promote as well the product, not only in stores, but as well online. And key factors that we realize on the e-commerce platforms, especially in the US, is that these are the words that they will find type to find the product, such as microcurrent facial device. And funny enough, we can call device or machine, but device was actually 200% more popular than the machine word. Facial massager, EMS face mask, and anti-aging microcurrent. This is a way as well of how in Latin America are promoted the product, just focusing obviously on the wrinkles, on the bump, on the abs, and as well on the cellulite, obviously the face. That was the way how they wanted to promote it and focusing. Obviously, as we said, China was in one way, Latin America has different ways to promote it. Now we're just gonna jump to pass this to Connor, who is the expert on this, just to share another case of study of Europe.
Thank you, Karina. So yes, when it comes to Europe, I just thought the direction would be, to gain a bit of an understanding to the market as a whole, as well as the kind of consumption value per country within Europe. So in terms of the market in 2020, it was valued at around 76.7 billion euros in regards to retail sales, and that made Europe the largest cosmetic market in the world. And then in 2018, the most sought after cosmetic lines in Europe was actually skincare products, accounting to the value of 20.4 billion euros. And obviously, with the USP again being microcurrent, we very much want to really tap into that market and see how much of an impact we can make together. The market is expected to grow annually, just under 5% over the next 5 years. And as you can see, when it comes to the consumption values of that, in terms of the growth of 5%, but in terms of where each country is at the moment, then that can bring a lot more substantial value, as well as cash flow as a whole for companies within Europe and the market. So I just sort of bullet pointed some of the countries there on the slide, just to give you a bit of context, as well as what countries we are currently involved in and what value and potential each of those countries do have. So moving on to areas of opportunity. which we believe these can be used to market the Uniglo to the fullest effect. So if we could move on to the next slide, please. So the first one I wanted to start with is live streaming. The use of live streaming has become and continues to grow in popularity as a sales and marketing avenue. We have seen with the case study of our Chinese customer that they are heavily involved with celebrities and influencers through the means of live streaming. And in their most recent live stream, our beauty device was seen by over 15 million people in their collaboration with the said celebrities and influencers in the Southeast Asia region. Yes, of course, they do have a bigger population as a whole, but I do think that something like that should really be researched and invested in within Europe and our customers as well, which I think really will give a lot of coverage for the Uniglo and what it has to offer. To give a bit of context into live streaming, in 2019, consumer spending from digital video and live streaming in Europe capped to around about 9.8 billion euros. And the impact of COVID-19 has slowly pushed the likes of millennials and Generation Z to spend more time live streaming. 28% of live social viewers did stream from multiple platforms, but when it came to individual platforms, 26% chose Facebook, 15% was for Snapchat and Instagram, and 13% was used through Twitter. So, why not begin to sort of, research and even take advantage of that shift in trends, through researching further in how you could campaign the live stream with the Uniglo as a whole and create that campaign. And as always, we are more than happy to help you and support you through that journey if you wish to take it. And any other questions you do have, please contact your account managers also. Radio. For some, they may consider radio as a forgotten form of marketing. But despite that, we have seen that it's been proved to be a success in Northern Europe, in particular in Scandinavia, with our partner, that is Nordic Med Group. So in the most recent campaign in August, the ad, it was a 45-second ad campaign, which marketed 4 or 5 of our products. And then when it came to that, but essentially it reached out to about at least 25% of the population in Finland, which is about 1.3 million people. Of that 1.3 million people, it was heard by their target focus group, which is women aged between 30 to 55. That was around 665,000 people, where it was able to reach out to the target focus. And as a whole, each of those people did hear the ad 4 times throughout the day at least. So with the success in recent campaigns, their ambition has no limit there. In October, Nordic Med Group will be launching its biggest campaign so far, in which they are planning to reach out to over 80% of the Finnish population in a week-long ad campaign. So we are very much excited about that, and I think it was very much worth to share, because we do believe that radio campaigns do have a lot of potential also. Retail and beauty services. So product vendors like salons, department stores and online stores, pharmacies are very much the core of that. And in 2015, there were approximately around about 47,000 specialist stores, which made up 26% of total cosmetic sales. So focusing on retail brands, retail stores is always the right place to start. But why not think of those specialist stores where they offer treatment packages? So why can't Uniglo be part of that package when it comes to microcurrent? Because I've seen through a multitude of different services that they do offer some sort of microcurrent. And as mentioned by Bronwyn, it has been used in the industry for over 25 years. So there should be some sort of base understanding and knowledge through those specialist stores in particular. E-commerce. Because e-commerce has taken on increased importance in the rebound of the global beauty and personal care market. So between 2020 and 2021, e-commerce sales of beauty and personal care products surged over 23%, which was actually initially forecasted to happen over the next 5 to 10 year period. So COVID-19 was definitely a part of that impact, and the way that it has just blown up, it will just keep on coming for weeks, months, and years to come. And a survey conducted by Cosmetics Design Europe, the summer of 2020, did show that 30% of beauty consumers are now considered as digital beauty shoppers. So I'd imagine that would be huge in the fact of how the sales of beauty products has grown, because a third of the market is now digitally part of that market as a whole consuming them. And yeah, these were through, you know, online sales, again, through influencers, as we mentioned earlier, and export generated online content. So now we'll be moving on, I believe, to the Middle East region.
Thank you, Connor. And this is pretty much the Gulf Compound Council of the skincare market size. We can see by country as well how it's like growing as well the skin market, the skincare market, sorry. And the skincare market stood at over 1.4 billion in 2017 and is projected to reach 1.7 billion by 2023 on account of rising working class women population base and growing demand from young population across the region. And on this, much according to the statistics of New Zealand Business Statistics, from 2006 to 2010, the number of employees in the beauty aesthetics industry grew by 11%, which is well above the average growth of 7.1% in New Zealand workers in other industries. In Australia, over the same period, the growth was even higher, estimated at in 19.3%. And according to a 2016 report in the Premium Beauty News, Australian consumers have high purchasing power, which has increased by more than 43% in 15 years. That's actually 15% higher than what the French consumers do. And this growth in the New Zealand beauty industry has resulted in a similar rise in beauty therapy related education courses as demand for trained staff increases. And between 2002 and 2009, there was a 169% of increase in the number of courses provided. Obviously, this goes along with what Dr. Hopkirk mentioned as well, like people are more interested on knowing more about this. And obviously creating awareness of what electrotherapy can offer amongst those in the education is important, as these people are likely to be the salon owners of the future. As well, this is expected to show a compound annual growth rate of nearly 10.78% during the next 5 years. And you can see now the value in Australia is of 201.10 million. Obviously, a lot of the beauty industry is traditionally spent on cosmetics, but a recent report in the Guardian newspaper highlights how many of the top brands of cosmetics use chemicals called PFAs, which is polyfluoroalkyl substances, sorry for the pronunciation. These toxic PFAs, they are like the forever chemicals, so-called, and because they do not unnaturally break down, have been found to accumulate in humans. And these PFAs chemicals have been linked into a range of serious health problems. Of the cosmetic that cross into the anti-aging arena, so excluding like products just used across all age ranges like lipsticks and others, the chart on the left shows the percentage of the products found in a well-published study that contain PFAS chemicals. I mean, realistically, it's a biggest concern because obviously people want to be pretty, look good, look fit, and obviously reduce that aging. But just seeing that has so much impact on using other cosmetics, that's a concern, of course. Obviously, the advantage of us as a company is that we don't have any chemicals, as we have mentioned during this presentation. It's drug-free, and we have that experience in a lot of the time. And just this is the last part of the webinar. We just want to thank you and just want to share very briefly about our new product that we're going to launch very soon. It's called the Uni Wand. Uni Wand is an accessory that will be used with the Uniglo as a complementary, and it will be pretty much a microcurrent technology to target the fine lines and wrinkles and provide a non-invasive facelift. The Uni Wand, obviously, as I said, is going to go with the Uniglo, and pretty much is just rubbing it on the skin. And is being used with a hyaluronic conductive gel that will help obviously to be conductive, but as well not being painful, just because the microcurrent even is not painful, but just to be more smooth to go across the face. This is the last part of the webinar. We're gonna obviously let you know when it's gonna be available our product, so keep tuned with us. And now we're just gonna probably pass to the QA questions.
Thank you very much for that, Karina. And as mentioned, yes, we're hoping that the Uni Wand will be with us from the start of next year.